Hey everybody, welcome to Workforce Gaming. I'm Brad, here with Doug.
Hey.
Forspoken was a big push from Square Enix over the last...
Sadly.
Well, we'll get there. Over the last... Not the last, but end of 2022, coming into 2023. Came out beginning of this year. I finally got around to it. Forspoken is this giant kind of open world action RPG that's developed by Luminous Productions, which is kind of notable for doing Final Fantasy 15. So they did this huge game in one of the biggest series out there. And this game got a huge push for a couple of years out of Square Enix, constantly showing it off as this big next-gen spectacle. So it kind of had a lot of hype coming out. And then, to put it bluntly, it just tanked. I don't think it sold well. It had just god-awful reviews. It just came out and everybody's like, just no, this is not what we want.
I thought you screwed up. I was about to stop. I was like, no way it came out in 2023. I just did a quick Google search like, oh man, that was a 2023
Yes,
game.
it was.
I haven't heard anybody talk about that. Oh my gosh, I thought that was like a 2022 one for sure. Jeez.
Nope.
That's a bummer too, because I mean, of course it's going to be big because it's coming off the Final Fantasy 15 team,
Exactly.
who made the best-selling Final Fantasy game ever. Still,
Exactly.
I think 16 didn't even get close to 15, which is really interesting. Yeah,
It's kind of crazy. So it's such a weird game to talk about because I think everybody just has these preconceived notions. Because if you saw the trailers for it, it was advertised in an odd way. It's got this really weird feel to it. So it's just this kind of big, giant, very expensive looking swing that Square Enix took to go like, what can we kind of really do with this team? So to start with, the basic premise of this game is you are Frey, who is basically orphan teenager in New York. It starts very oddly with you going into a courtroom for your third strike on theft and all these other things. So you start out in like real life New York City, and then you play New York City for about 45 minutes. You kind of find out that like, oh man, you have some like shitty gang history. These people are like not fans of you. You've pissed off the wrong people, that type of thing. You live alone.
This is all done through like the lens of a Japanese developer. I'm very curious how that all plays out.
It's very generic.
It's just generic. Okay,
yeah,
that's good. I'm glad it's just generic.
Probably better than offensive, but yes. But you live in abandoned apartment. You climb up the fire escape and go to this abandoned little room where you live in. It's just like Frey's life is shit. This is depressing. Again, I won't get too much into spoilers, even though this is the first hour, but some really horrible shit happens. You run away from some people and you find this magic bracelet that transports you to the world of Athia, which is a big, giant medieval-style world of giant castles and abundance of open terrain to run through.
Gosh, it sounds like Neverending Story or something like that, or like one of those like 80s kids movies, except with like a violent opening.
It does. Strange. It very much has that like, you come to this world as like the chosen one, and these people don't understand you, and you don't understand their world, and nobody knows how you got here, and you have to explore it and figure out this land is plagued by like this evil that's kind of corrupted from they're the Tantras, who are the like heads of all of this mystical power in this world, and they went crazy a few years ago and just started murdering everybody, and you have to figure this whole thing out. There's interesting story hooks there. It's just like bland is like the most delicate way to put it. Frey is kind of that reluctant hero too, where it's like, my life sucks and now I'm here. Well, now my life sucks because I'm here, and fine, I guess I'll help you. And she is in, I don't know what to do, maybe I'll help you mode for probably 70% of this game.
Is it just like very tropey and it's just like I've seen this before sort of thing? Is that kind of more the issue rather than it's like, is it well executed? I mean, tropey but well executed can sometimes work, but is it just like tropey and that's about it?
It's just tropey and it's one of those things where it has no take on anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
At no point is there that like, oh, it's this, but if you made it this way. Oh, it's kind of like that, but if you kind of took this little twist on it, it's just it's the combat's like this, the world's like this is like this. Go.
That's really weird coming from Final Fantasy 15, because I feel like 15 was such like an odd setting and game and all that stuff. It's like it's weird like coming off of Final Fantasy 15, which is like probably one of the most unique Final Fantasy games, to a generic-y kind of world. It's like a really odd turn, I guess, for that team.
You can see a lot of it. You see a lot of it in like the open world design is very similar to 15. You see a lot of it in 15 is kind of known for the friends in the car, road trip, constant talking thing. You get that a lot with your talking magical bracelet, where you have conversations back and forth as you're wandering. There's definitely some stuff there that I think comes over from 15, but it's just it just has no bite to it. There's nothing super interesting, and that's where I almost like disagree with like the really bad scores. I don't feel like there's anything like offensive enough to give it a bad score. Like if you were going to score this, like it's like no, it's
sure.
It's a 6 or 7 because it doesn't do anything great. It doesn't do anything bad. It's just, it exists.
I mean, is the combat good or anything?
So,
is it just like, is there anything good in this, or is it just like all just so averagely executed that it's like hard to even talk about? We've had reviews like that for sure. Where it's like, I can't condemn or praise anything about this game.
The one good thing that I actually really like is one of the powers that you have is this. It's literally called magic parkour. Which is, it's basically, I feel like it's kind of an evolution of what Assassin's Creed, like, free running stuff was way back in the day, where it's just, like, hold X to, like, run and do cool stuff. It's that, and it works so well. Because you use it in combat, you use it for traversal, you use it to climb things, you use it to do this. So you kind of have this constant, like, just running around feeling. So kind of actually going through the open world is kind of fun in and of itself, just running around climbing things. Because, I mean, you do, like, these crazy flips and jumps, and you can kind of, Breath of the Wild-esque, like, I can almost climb everything. I can almost go to anywhere just because of how I can hold this button down and do this magic parkour. So that is very cool. I really did like that traversal. I do think that's something that stands out, but I don't think that's something to build your whole game off of.
Sure. Is there, I mean, I guess, like, is the open world, like it's like, I can go over there and see that. Is there anything there when you get there as far as, like, there's interesting things to explore, a unique boss, trying to find something here, Brad.
keep digging, but I tried to. There's some unique bosses. There's some cool bosses. The open world, I'm going to be honest, I skipped a lot of it. It was kind of, the game builds so slowly that, like, you almost need to keep going through it just to get to a point where, like, you really have all your powers. I don't think you get, like, your melee combat skill until, like, 30 or 40% of the way through this game.
What do you mean?
I'm
confused. What do you mean?
So you unlock. So basically, as you go through and you have to go find these tantras, right? Who are these like mystical things who have these powers? You increase your skill tree, your power set, that thing. So, the first one you get is basically just like your cuff gives you the power to do like blaster things out of your hands.
Yeah.
You play with that. Well, then you get like a little bit stronger one, a little bit stronger one, a little bit stronger one, and as you defeat things, you get more powers. The melee ability magic doesn't come until like a third of the way through the game.
Whoa!
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It takes a long time. So
that's crazy.
So with it, you spend a lot of time just kind of doing the same thing, and then again, like some of your traversal abilities come later. So the game almost makes you just want to like blow through it just to kind of go like, okay, I can finally get this. I can finally get this. I can finally get this. Mm-hmm. And like when you finally feel like you're kind of like, okay, I got my shit together. Like we're good. I've got everything I want. I really feel like I can play this game. You're like at the 90% point.
Oh, that sucks. It's really funny because, like, I think that's interesting because then the demo must have had like most of, if not all, the abilities.
The demo scene takes place about probably 2/3 of the way through the game.
Oh, interesting.
Because I remembered because it was one of those things.
A lot of stuff.
Because the demo is very like gated off that area. Because like you start like going into this, it's going up into an area that's maybe 50%. It's a ways in. It's a good chunk of the way into the game because you do have all those powers already. Because I was kind of like, that's why. Because I think we actually did a video on it. We did.
Yeah, we absolutely did.
I think the combat was our biggest thing. It was like, I cannot understand this combat. Well, when you get to that point, the combat makes total sense because you've been doing it for like 6 hours.
Sure. Yeah. I remember like trying to learn the combat. I actually played that demo quite a lot. And once I got the combat, it's like, actually this combat system's kind of interesting. But the thing, it's like Final Fantasy 15. This is an interesting thing. I'm trying to figure out if it's great or good, but it's definitely interesting. And that's how I always came back with this.
It is
a lot of this team's games in general. It's like, are these great games or are they just like interesting ideas that don't quite pan out?
I would say it's interesting. And again, because you get such a slow build on it, by the time you have everything, like you can flip through because it's a lot of like hold down this button to get into this combat wheel to switch over to this one, and now once you do that, you can double tap this button to kind of pop up a new power. Once you kind of get the rhythm of it down, it works. It's not a like, oh my gosh, this is the combat system I want for now and forever, but it's like, okay, serviceable. You tried something new. Thank you.
Oh man.
But
this poor team.
It's just,
yeah.
I mean, it's one of those games where it's just like, there's some things here. Like, there's some things.
Yeah.
The magic parkour, like, you took some shots at some things, but just everything just seems like it's like that, like, yeah, you're almost there. You're almost there.
Man,
you
that
almost got it.
sucks.
Frey is...
There's no, like, cool set pieces or anything like that?
There's a couple. There's, I mean...
Okay.
Nothing to the point of, like, Final Fantasy 15 set pieces. Nothing to the point of anywhere near 16. Nothing you would expect out of, like, those big action RPG set pieces. They don't quite reach that level. There's some cool ones for sure, but never that huge set piece. It just, I mean, Frey is interesting to a point, but there's some just weird character development things where there's, like, a whole, like, maybe at one point she literally just goes screw the world, I just don't care anymore, just everybody can die, and has that like dark turn. It's like, nope, kind of came out of nowhere, tiny thing happened, and now this, and then that's resolved 20 minutes later, and we're like, okay, nope, we're back now. So there's some interesting story twists here and there, but it's not enough. It's one of those where it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not a game that I would be like, oh my god, don't play it, it sucks, it's horrible, I hate it. It's fine. If you want just like an action RPG, that's just an action RPG, shut your brain off, run around a little bit, shoot at some stuff. I bought it dirt cheap. I'm sure you can buy it dirt cheap.
Brad, we got to find you a good game, man.
What do you
I feel
mean?
so bad. I feel like the last 3 reviews, like, the games are fine.
Spider-Man 2, in the middle of it right as we talk.
Yeah. That'll be a fun review for sure.
There you go. Much better 2023 game. But anyway, we are Workforce Gaming. We try and put up new videos every Monday. Subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment below. See you later.
Bye.